What's up guys, Observation KiddCalin back with another video, and today is the big one. We're going to be taking a look at and breaking down the Lightfall Vidoc. Now, I know you've probably already watched some of your favorite creators do their breakdowns of it, but I wanted to take a couple days and really analyze this in its entirety and bring you guys some of the details that you definitely did not notice when watching this the first time. As a quick heads up though, I do want to give a spoiler warning because I am going to be spoiling some story stuff as well as revealing some new perks and exotics that we're going to be getting. So if you don't want to, see story spoilers, or if you don't want to know about gear, I will have timestamps down below. You can skip to the parts that you're interested in, or, skip past the parts that you don't want to see. But yeah, other than that, let's get into it. Starting with the opening of Lightfall. Now, the Vidoc actually picks up where Season of the Seraph ended, with the Black Fleet continuing their descent on the Traveler. But a really interesting thing or detail here is it doesn't look like the Black Fleet is attacking the Traveler. However, the Shadow Legion, their ships are kind of running interference in between us and the Black Fleet. This kind of leads me to believe that the Witness isn't trying to destroy the Traveler just yet. It's kind of like one of those I need him alive kind of situations, but we actually get to see after the aftermath of the dogfight and everything in space, where the Witness reaches out to touch something. I think it's touching the Traveler, and it may be taking something from it, or it could be corrupting the Traveler, as we do know that that's part of the prophecy that we learned about last year during, I believe it was Season of the Haunted in the Vox Obscura mission. But there's definitely more going on here than, just Witness destroys the Traveler. Getting back to the Vidoc though, in true Bungie fashion, they actually didn't put the clips in order, so if you would like to see them in order, up in the top corner, I'm gonna have a link to the video. I basically reordered the scenes as best I could based on, clues in each one of them, to kind of give a look at how Lightfall possibly may open. After that though, we get a look at the Strand Showcase part of the Vidoc, which doesn't really show anything new per se. We do get to actually see the UI when the grapple is being used, as well as, they show off the supers again, as that's a big part of the subclasses. But something that they snuck in there was they actually show off the new origin trait for the Neomuna weapons. Watching this scene, we see the Warlock grapple in and do his grapple melee, which they follow up with hip fire shots. Now, at first I thought this was to avoid showing the reticle, but Bungie actually snuck in a showing of the new Nanotech Tracer Rocket origin trait, which is present on the Neomuna weapons. If you look closely, as the Warlock fires from the hip, you'll see a Strand Tracer fire out as well. I thought this maybe was the new Hatchling perk or an ability, but we then see this same behavior when they show off the new Thrilladrome Lost Sector, the Guardian hip fires, the new Stasis wave frame, and if you look closely, you can actually see a Stasis Tracer firing out towards the last Vex left in this scene. Next, we get a look at the new destination Neomuna, as well as some of the concept art for it. We get introduced to the Cloud Striders, Ruhan and Nimbus, as well as a word from today's sponsor. The last thing you want to be worried about during day one of Lightfall is what you're going to eat that day, and that's where today's sponsor, Factor 75, comes in. Factor 75 brings fresh, chef-crafted meals directly to your doorstep. It's like having that chef friend that always posts amazing pictures of their meals on Instagram, meal prepping for you, and then just putting it in your fridge for you to heat up throughout the week. And with a menu that changes every week, you'll never run out of choices for what you want to eat. Factor also allows you to choose between different dietary lifestyles such as keto, vegan, or vegetarian, and even protein plus, which I'm assuming is for those people who like to work out and stuff and need that extra protein for building muscle. So if you want to give Factor 75 a try, hit the link down in the description and use my promo code to save 50% off your first box. Now back to the video. Another thing we get a better look at is the Tormentors we're going to be facing off against. Now, this new combatant looks to take inspiration from the Rolk encounter from Vow of the Disciple, and the way that it looks like there are glowing body parts, and I'd assume the only way, or rather the best way, to do damage to these new foes is to hit those glowing places. They also show off the grab mechanic that the Tormentors can use, where they grab you and, kind of like a suck out your life force, I guess. Probably on like higher level difficulty, it's like a one-shot type of move. But we also get to look at the fact that these things need a manicure, because wow, look at those hands. Moving on though, we get a look at Season of Defiance. And it looks like this season is mainly set on the EDZ. There may be some, you know, overlap into the Cosmodrome, as they're both Earth destinations. But for now, we're only seeing EDZ locations, so I'm gonna assume this is only on the EDZ. A thing to note though, and this is actually evident in the gear that we're gonna be getting throughout the season, is all of our allies are involved. It's not just the Marasov season. A really nice detail in the armor is that it takes aspects from seasons 13 through 15. For example, looking at the Hunter armor, you see the cloak is the Scion cloak from Season of the Risen, but with the light effects from Season of the Splicer, while the hood is a Techian hood. After that though, we get a look at some of the new exotics that haven't been announced yet. Here we see some Guardians transmet in to presumably start an activity, and they're all wearing an exotic armor piece and holding an exotic weapon. From left to right, we have a Warlock with the Swarmer boots that actually synergize with the Final Warning sidearm that he's holding. In the middle, we have the Titan with a new bow called Verglass Curve, as well as a helmet. Now, we don't know the name of the helmet or what it does, obviously, but it looks like it may be stasis related. However, we've seen things that have ice on them that have nothing to do with stasis, so this might not be the case for the Titan helmet. And then something that a lot of people didn't really say anything about is the Hunter actually has on exotic legs. After that though, we get to see the Strand Exotics again, kind of with more detail. So a quick note on the Warlock Swarmers is you don't have to shoot the Tangle to destroy it to spawn the Threadlings. You can actually pick it up and throw it, and the Threadlings will spawn at the detonation site of the Tangle, which is actually nice because it kind of lets you choose where the Threadlings spawn if you want to go that route. We then get another look at the Hunter helmet that I've refused to pronounce without reading, and we see that Woven Mail lasts for 10 seconds. Now, it is possible that like our other subclasses, there's an aspect that extends our strand buffs, so we don't know if this is base time or not, but that lasts quite a while, and if that stacks with other things that we can do to reduce our damage, that's going to be a pretty useful, not only in PvP, but also in PvE. And lastly, we get to look at the Titan legs in action, and there's not really anything different from last time we saw them, but I do want to point out that the Neomuna fusion rifle is arc. So I'm wondering if it can roll with Volt Shot or even Reservoir Burst, and how those perks would interact with the new Origin traits, Tracer Shot. Now we get into the part I was most interested in, and that is the new build crafting system. Here there's actually a lot to take a look at. So we're going to start with some of the new weapons. From the top, we have a new Stasis Adaptive Frame Auto Rifle with a couple of new perks, Envious Assassin and Hatchling. There's a grenade launcher with Shot Swap and Volt Shot, which is an interesting combination, especially on a grenade launcher. And then a look at the sword that we saw earlier during the Season of Defiance section, which is actually a reskin of the Hero of Ages sword that we got during the 30th anniversary pack. And it can roll with Incandescent, which is going to lead me to believe that this is a solar sword instead of the former Void that Hero of Ages was. After that though, the scene switches, or the setup switches, and we get a look at the new Void shotgun, which has again that Envious Assassin perk, as well as a new Void perk that's also present on the new ritual weapon called Destabilizing Rounds, as well as a new LMG called Circular Logic with Offhand Strike, and again that new Hatchling perk. Moving through that though, we get a look at some of the new mods that are going to be coming with the Buildcrafting rework. Now, I'm not actually going to go into too much detail on these mods because I'm actually doing a build crafting video that's going to go over everything. It's going to break down the different types of mods we have, things that synergize, things that don't. You are going to get a good breakdown of how the new build crafting system is going to work. So definitely make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one when it comes out. However, we do see the new fonts that increase stats, as well as the surge mods, which give us increased elemental damage. Then we get a look at the Guardian rank system. Now, the thing about the new Guardian rank system is the ranks 1 through 6 are the permanent ranks and are like the introductory tasks, but then ranks 7 through 11 are going to be your seasonal tasks and will reset every season. For example, completing the Lightfall campaign or reaching a certain artifact level. Ending off, we get a look at the new Commendation system, which also gives us another look at the new armor we'll be getting, and then the Vidoc closes on what I'd assume is the raid intro cinematic. But guys, that is it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, make sure to hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.